Good morning, and thanks for being with us in this dialogue with the Minister of Foreign Affairs and Migrants of Lebanon. But first of all, thank you, Minister, for being with us. I mean, we were mentioning a few minutes ago, having a coffee, that you are the man of the day. Your colleague told us that you are the man of every day for them, but here today, on the verge of a possible ceasefire in Lebanon, the conversation with you is even more precious than usual. You had yesterday a statement at the opening, but today we have again the opportunity with Lina Khatib, director of the SOAS Middle East Institute, to exchange a few points and comments with you. Let me start immediately. Is this microphone working?
Yeah.
Let me start immediately because, as I said, we are possibly, inshallah.
Oh, it's cutting off.
It's not coming out.
Sì, lo so. Io provo a parlare, se però datemi anche un gelato eventualmente, un gelato inteso come microfono, eventualmente anche un gelato. You know, this microphone in Italian we call it ice cream. So in case give me an ice cream, but meaning the microphone, but even a mic. Okay. Let's see if it works. Ok, col gelato. Grazie mille, staccamo questo qui. Eccoci qua, perfetto. Va bene. Sorry for this. This is the bello della diretta. So we are possibly close to a ceasefire. The word possibly is necessary because in Gaza we've been several times possibly close a ceasefire, which did not materialize. But let's hope and assume this time is really the time. Minister, can you help us understand the term of the deal, the possible term of the deal? Because we have been reading and assessing in the last few days a few elements, 30 or 60 days of the time frame, the role or not role for France in the committee, the desire or the willingness of Israel to keep a door open, to open the door in case of need, and so all issues which were very crucial and delicate. So where are we on the possible agreement?
We are hopeful. I can't say more than that because of the experience the international community had in Gaza tells us that we should be hopeful but not certain that things would go the right way. Everybody is waiting for the Israeli security cabinet, whatever cabinet, to meet and decide and make a statement that they accept the ceasefire. Now, what it is for 60 days. Now, things could have changed yesterday because, you know, I've been 2 days out of the country or so on the phone, but you don't get all the details on the phone. It is 60 days for withdrawal and for also the Lebanese armed forces to go to the south and for also the UNIFIL to take the new, it's not a new job, but to become more, all of us become more effective south of the Litani.
And 60 days is also present to Trump, because 60 days means...
Exactly. I think, you know, think about American politics, I don't think Mr. Netanyahu is going to give this pleasure, all the pleasure, to President Biden. He's going to give it, some of it to President-elect Trump, yeah. So because it will finish by the end, you know, 60 days, it will be by the end of January. And this means that we, in Lebanon, we will be sending in these 60 days, and this is as the Israelis withdraw, will fill in their place around 5,000 troops. This will be added to around 5,000 that exist in the south. And in cooperation with UNIFIL, after 60 days, the only authority in South Lebanon, in south of the Litani, not South Lebanon, in south of the Litani, it would be the authority of the Lebanese government, which means that also with the help of UNIFIL, of course, the Lebanese army, Lebanese armed forces would be, or security would be prevailing in South Lebanon. All weapons would be government weapons, legalized by the government. Everything would be this in 60 days. This is the condition from our side. This is what we want to do, what is our duty. And then becomes the day after, which is very difficult because...
On the day after, we will get back
we'll stop
in a few minutes. No. We want to get your comments on many more issues. No, but why is for Lebanon so crucial that in the committee France is involved?
Okay.
The committee supervising what's being agreed.
You know, this committee, we have based on the new committee, based on two previous committees. One in 1996, there was a committee after the Kana bombing and so on, which is a village in South Lebanon that the Israelis bombed then, made up of 5 countries, Lebanon and Israel, France and the United States, and Syria. Syria now is not involved. So there is UNIFIL. And there is a committee based from the 1701, United Security Council 1701, which meets all the time, tripartite committee at the, I think, military level between Israel, Lebanon, and UNIFIL. So we put them together and made it this way, you know. We didn't, now, is this open? Yeah, this could be open in the future for other countries, whether European or Arab countries, to join. It could be open, but it has to be in a unanimous decision.
My last question on the possible agreement. You mentioned that part of the agreement is that the Lebanese army will take full control of the South Litani. And with UNIFIL. And the question is the Lebanese army in a position to do that? Because that's a critical issue which Mani has raised. And will UNIFIL role be expanded in your vision, your view?
The only authority that can extend UNIFIL role is the Security Council.
Yeah.
And we are not going again back to the Security Council. We have to wait until September for the extension, because it's 1-year extension of UNIFIL, if any change is going to take place. But it would be more. I mean, you know, there would be more cooperation. I would stress more cooperation between the Lebanese armed forces and UNIFIL. UNIFIL cannot do it alone, neither the Lebanese army can do it alone. They have to do it together. Together, there would be something like 20,000 troops. They have to do the work that was required from them in 1701. Regarding France, also, yes, there was an objection because of the ICC and so on for France to be in. I think it was settled. We insisted on France. Otherwise, we'll go back to the 1701, the 3 countries. We insisted on France, and I think between France, United States, and Israel, they managed to fix the situation, and France is there.
Thank you. Lina.
Yes, good morning, and thank you so much for being with us. I just wanted to follow up because you mentioned the US. One of the things that is particularly striking about the possible ceasefire deal is that it will have US oversight over what happens if it's 60 days, in the 60 days of the deal. For an entity like Hezbollah to accept having US oversight it's a pretty significant move. So my question is, does this signal a change in the way the Lebanese state is going to have its relationship with the US in this regard?
I think we have very good relations with the United States. There is dialogue all the time. You know, yes, there was a Mr. Hochstein became the sole person working with this issue, but he was working with us, and he had a really thrive. He had a push. He himself did a very good job in pushing it for many reasons, and I think we still hope that this tonight will be successful in this regard. So we have these relations with the United States. I mean, the United States is very important, gives very important support for the Lebanese armed forces and other things. And we are promised that the United States also, in rebuilding, reconstructing the South, they would work on the infrastructure as well.
Yeah, I mean, on that question, thinking about the day after, you said the US will hopefully play a role. What about other actors, such as Gulf actors, the international community at large? What is the plan being discussed internally in Lebanon about the need?
You know, we were so busy, all of us, with the ceasefire, because without ceasefire, destruction, killing, death, blood, whatever, would continue. And we are against that. We wanted to stop it because the country was paralyzed, although it is in few parts of the country the fighting was, but the country as a whole is paralyzed. And we wanted to finish this and to have a ceasefire. Hopefully tonight, by tonight, we will have this ceasefire. So did we think very much about the day after? No. I mean, there hasn't been, but I think, there is some plans. I know that a lot of international organizations, we have a committee also to work on it. They have plans. I'm not aware of them, but we do have. And it is building the infrastructure and housing, because we have more than between 50 and 60,000 houses in the south and in the Bekaa and in Beirut that, we need to rebuild, because we have 1.5 million displaced Lebanese living in schools. And as you know, yesterday, the day before, the Minister of Education have stopped schools because we want to put, displaced people in schools. So it's a very difficult time. I think we'll manage it. It's a small country, and I think we do work with each other, and I think we'll manage to do something.
Well, speaking of working with each other, I want to turn to the domestic political situation. Obviously, Lebanon has been in political vacuum for 2 years, without a president, only a caretaker cabinet. Surely now's the time for the Lebanese politicians to feel the urgency of the need to fill this vacuum.
You know that we are a caretaker government. In 24 members of the government, we have one member of parliament only. So we don't deal very much with the presidency. This is the parliament. And one of the ills of democracy in our region, like we witnessed it in Iraq as well as in Lebanon, when you have free elections, you may not get a majority. I mean, electing a president needs 2/3 majority. We have 128 members of parliament, 86 are needed. It's so far they found it not difficult, somehow impossible to rally 86 members of parliament to elect a president or to agree on a president. It's a very difficult times, and I think we have to overcome it. And I know that there are a lot of members of parliament that are asking for a simple majority. I think this will be dangerous for Lebanon. Especially at this time, we need a president that would put people together, get people together. It's not a matter of the the Lebanese armed forces is a disciplined force. All commanders were successful. Since independence, there is no commander of the Lebanese armed forces that failed in doing what he has to do. So we know that we have it. Now we need a president that would put the country together, and I mean this politically. Is it an easy task? I don't think it's an easy task.
So is ceasefire first, then president? Why should these two files be linked?
There is disagreement on that in Lebanon, but this is what's happening, is that, I give you an example. It would have been, if there is an election before a ceasefire, it would have been very difficult for members of parliament belonging to Hezbollah to come to the parliament. It's not safe. And we should trust Syria? No, we don't. Okay, so they don't at least. So it is a difficult time. I'm not justifying not having president. This has been more than 2 years. We've been without a president, and I think the parliament, one way or another, this is personal view, that they should have elected a president. You cannot continue in a vacuum, and everybody, all those who are concerned about Lebanon, countries or people, they ask us, you've got to get a president. You've got to elect a president.
I'm going to hand back to Paulo.
I know we have been talking in many sessions, even this edition of MED, of the role or the non-role of the European Union in the crisis. But let me ask you, what would you expect Europe to do now in the next few months, after the ceasefire? What is Lebanese expectation on Europe in the near future?
The problem of Europe is that, as now the HRVP says, is that it's very difficult to unite Europe on one issue. There is always one country objection. So it's not easy and this means that it's not easy for Europe to play a political role. Now, countries in Europe play a political role. France plays a very important role. Italy is playing a role also, and can play even an increasing role in Lebanon and the situation in Lebanon. So Europe can help more in the economic process, in the reconstruction process, more than in the political process as a unit, you see. But as a separate country, Britain plays also a role. As a separate countries, they do play a role, but it's very difficult for them to play it because of the structure of Europe. Like, we can't, because of the elections in Lebanon, produced a parliament that cannot elect a president. The same thing in Europe. The laws in Europe cannot make it united and cannot make it take a decision. I heard that from Mr. Borrell. It's not like my.
No. I mean, I can't say this is the answer I was hoping to get as a European. But I think it's a very realistic answer. I mean, we are often not involved in breaking something, but when something is broken, we are asked to help pay for the broken situation. But let's hope this may change. But now we have been trying to ask you, Lina and myself, to discuss the day after. And you answered several times, we had no time to think for the day after so far. But I need to force you, Minister, on this issue, because as I did with the Egyptian foreign minister yesterday, MED this year is the 10th anniversary of MED, and when we started this exercise, we decided to put a title, claim, which was a positive agenda, but then we realized that mentioning only the positive agenda, given the situation of the region, was too optimistic, and so we put comma, beyond turmoil. And in these last 10 years, we had no shortage of turmoil. We had Islamic State, Syria, and Libya, and Iran, and then COVID, and now this year, the utmost turmoil. But we need to look at the positive agenda. And the positive agenda, of course, is the day after. We cannot talk about the positive agenda looking at last year, of course. So what is your vision of a possible but realistic positive agenda for the region and for your country? Lina asked you already on the country, but can you wrap up and close this session with your vision of the positive agenda for the region and for your country?
Let me say this about my country first.
My country first is very
MAGA.
is very,
You know, we have occupied land. We hopefully that this process would lead to negotiations with Israel on the borders and will settle once and for all the borders between us and Israel. And it has not been settled for a long time. And Israelis have been refusing to talk about it. And the problem of Lebanon is that as long as there is occupation, and this is international law, you cannot stop resistance. Call it in the West terrorism, to call it whatever it is resistance. That whenever you have occupation, you have resistance. And unless we settle this, Israel accepts to settle the borders once and for all, I think resistance would come back and problems would come back. If not in a year or 5 years or 10 years, one day it would come back. We've been, since 2006, up until October 8th, 2023, the borders between us and Israel did not witness any important clash, any important problem. Really, there is some problems here and there that they were solved on the ground, you know. So what we need is, if we need a stable border, if we need to have, and for us to build a very strong state, we need to settle the borders with Israel. And if Israel continues to refuse to settle the border, it will be very difficult politically to control in the future the resistance. This is very important. You know, in a small country like Lebanon, economics, especially the Lebanese all over the world, and they are, you know, like I always say, we have 1 million Lebanese in between Europe, Africa, and the Gulf. And they are supporting Lebanon now. We have a dollarized economy. We pay most of our bills in dollars rather than, except when you deal with the government, it has to be in Lebanese currency. So I'm not afraid for Lebanon economically. I'm afraid for security, for, you know, stability in the country. It would produce economic growth quickly. We have banking sector is not yet fixed. We have to fix the banking sector. There is no trust in the bankers in Lebanon, in the banking sector in Lebanon. There is no change. I mean, the disaster that it was caused in 2019 by the banking sector did not cause the change of the administration. They are still the same. So the people are really afraid to put their money there. And still those banks are not giving any credit to industry, agriculture, housing, anything yet. So the banking sector is still not working very well. We've got to fix the banking sector, hopefully with the help of the IMF as well. So I think once it's done, if we get security, if we get stability in the country, I'm not afraid for the economy. So it gradually will build back what we lost with the help of, as we say it in Lebanon, with the brothers, we say each other brothers among the Arab world, and the friends. I think we can rebuild the country.
and on the region?
On the region, you need a solution for the Palestinian problem. This problem has been with us since 1948. And it has not been, its effectiveness on the region and the world has not been slowing down. On the contrary, I see the Palestinian nationalism stronger than it was in the 50s and 60s and 70s. And if Israelis think that they can suffocate the Palestinians, they are mistaken. They are creating problems for themselves. Unless they solve this problem with the Palestinians, the way they both have to solve it together, there would be no peace in the region. And the region would always have something, hopefully not, but always would have something like October 7 and so on. So similar to it, and you see that those October 7s have been getting worse and worse. They have not been, let's say, this is reducing. Yes, you can kill Hamas, but there would be, I mean, what do you do with 15,000 orphans? They are all have bitterness about Israel. They all, unless there is something, and now they are killing UNRWA. So who's going to help them? These are going to go to extreme organizations in the future. And that's what Israelis have to understand, that they cannot finish the Palestinian problem until there is a settlement between them and the Palestinians.
Excellency, thank you very much. We all cross fingers for your country, for your region. And we discussed before that we will have next year a step in between the two MED on Lebanon and see how, and assess how the situation is evolving. Please join me in a round of applause for the Minister and for Lina. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.